Hello guys, good morning. Welcome to yet another lesson in our Microsoft Office suite, this time around on PowerPoint. Like Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel, there are several ways of opening PowerPoint when you have a Microsoft suite installed in your PC. The first way is by either searching, so we will write PowerPoint in your search space, and you have the PowerPoint that comes up. You double click on it, and or you either double click or you right click and run. Yes. Or if you already have another page of PowerPoint open, you move to the taskbar, right click on the PowerPoint icon and select one level PowerPoint with no title just below, and then you double click on it and your PowerPoint opens. And when your PowerPoint open, immediately your PowerPoint open, you also notice that PowerPoint gives you the same, more or less the same view. Great. It gives you this same welcome space where you have templates which have been provided by PowerPoint for your use. You can go ahead and choose any of these templates to use. You can equally check different presentations available. Yes, you have presentation. You can search or use this scroll bar here to look for exactly what you want. Maybe you want training. Yes, and under each category you have the number of available PowerPoint templates there. So under business, for instance, we have 2 education, we have 2 still presentation, we have, and so on and so forth. Yes, you may want charts to do some. Yes, some, you select charts and you were given a panoply of options which you can use. Yeah, whenever you want to go back, you can select here to go back to your main page. So a lot of this which you can use, animation and 3Ds, for instance. Yes, you can get any of this. Educations. Yeah. So but then we are going to choose the neutral, which is the blank presentation, by double clicking. When you have a document, when you double click on this, even before you double click, we already had this, the recent documents you've been working on. Yes, we have recent documents you've been working on, which you can open here as well, or you can save or delete from your recent recovery file. Those are the few things you can do, but this is a neutral, a new PowerPoint page we want to work on, and the first thing I always do is to delete this default. By default, this default that usually comes, so I have a completely blank page on which I can work. I equally love to close these so that I can have a large enough space. The zoom button right down here, yes, and still we place it around 100. That's kind of too much for now. Let's place it at 16. Yes, you have your home tab here, which we've made mention of it a lot of time, and you have the file. usually used for saving your document, either saving it as new or using the save as option, or for printing, sharing, exporting, or simply closing. You have the home tab, which is very useful, made up of ribbons. The clipart, slides, font, paragraph, drawing, editing ribbon, and within each ribbon we have groups, different groups, which we are going to be making use of to apply to whatever creation we are doing within our workspace. You have the insert, where you can go to either insert 3D models, to insert pictures, photographs, or shapes. You can equally insert video, audio, or do screen recording. Yes, design, which gives you more options still on the design of your work space. Notice as I go toggle here, I get the different design appearing on my workspace. You have transition. This transition you use to move from one PowerPoint slide to another. Animation for animating your creations in PowerPoint. Slideshow, review, view, help, and so on. For help, you can go here to search on how to do anything, or contact the support system, or give your feedback. Yes, give your feedback on the product. So actually we are using PowerPoint 2019, but if you have newer versions of PowerPoint or older versions like even 2007, or even future versions of PowerPoint, of course all of these are still going to be very much applicable. So you're good to go, and you can follow this tutorial to the end. If you have used PowerPoint in the past, or you're generally intimidated by it, I would like to ask you to stay tuned, and by the end of this tutorial you are not going to have any of such problem again, because we are starting from the very basic, of course. So let's go. So as we earlier mentioned, in the layout, it is interesting, as earlier mentioned, in the layout we have what is called tabs. Yes, we've seen this, and each tab, when you click on each tab, you have a set of tools that are arranged in a ribbon, and each ribbon is further broken down into different groups. Yes, into different groups. For some groups, the contents are able to fit into it, but for others it doesn't fit. So an option is provided known as the launch button, which permits you to access more options related to the group. Like this is the clipboard group. When I click the launch button, I get access to this, which gives me more options under the clipboard group. Great. But not all groups have the launch button anyway. Yes, not all groups have the launch button, but it is important to always watch out for the launch button. Above here we have the quick access toolbar, which you can customize. You can add or remove functions you can remove or add functions that you would like to use frequently, so that you won't have to go searching for them each time. You simply just select them from the quick access toolbar, as the name goes. So subsequently we are going to be seeing how to add, or simply you click and then go to more commands. When you select more commands, yes, you can be able to get like the group command here, and I add. When I select add, click as many. This is insert add, and I add it. Notice when I select and click add, it moves to the right, and at the end of it I can just tick OK, and I'll be able to have my group, my add insert right up there. And so that each time I need to use it, I simply just have to go up, click on it, and I start using. So that is that. Let's look at a little bit the workspace. Right before us we have a slide, and on the left side we have a thumbnail of the slide we are working on. Good. So if I added text, for instance, or just a shape, good, when I add it on my workspace, it appears also in the thumbnail. And the more slides I have, the more, each time a new slide is created, it appears also in the thumbnail, of being able to move directly to uh, a slide of our choice without having to press the next button. So I can simply select slide 3, for instance, slide 4, slide 1, and do whatever editing I wanted to do in it. And you can also be able to add slides between two slides by simply clicking between them. Notice a line appears, click and then take new, and this slides, a new slide is inserted between your two slides. You can equally move slides from one location to another by selecting first a slide, moving to your thumbnail section, click and hold, and then you drag it across, and you'll be able to displace the location, the position of like any given slide. So but then we will be seeing this uh, frequently as we go ahead. If we equally want to delete a slide, we move to the thumbnail section, click on the slide, right click, and we can either delete, we can either duplicate the same slide, or make a completely new slide. Yeah, so if I select delete, for instance, the slide is removed from our presentation. So I want to remove this first slide so that we can continue working from here. Let's say our presentation is on maybe the type of insects. Up here it says click to add title, so we simply click and we put our title here, types of insects. Yes, that's our title right here. We can do a lot of editing on this title by either making it bold, making it centralized by using Control E. Yes, we can equally move this around. We can equally move this around by clicking on the rectangular shape around our circle. That's the border of our writing pattern, by clicking and holding the border of our writing. We can equally do some words add formatting on this, but change the color as well. Yes, and we can change the font type as well, maybe to Algerian. Font size, we still can change the font size of our titles. That's our title. Here we can decide to continue writing here, or we can decide to remove it completely, to remove this completely and create our own writing space. How do we create a writing space? By going to insert, shapes, and right here you have a text box, horizontal text box, and next to it we have vertical text box. Of course, we select the horizontal text box and click within our slide hole and drag to the length we want, depending on what we want to insert in the text box. In the text box, and notice that if you don't write anything in your text box and you click um, out of the writing space, it is going to be difficult to see your text space again. Probably it disappears unless you write something, even if it's just a full stop within, then you can be able to go back to it with ease. You can be able to go back to it with ease. So it is always advisable that when you create um, a text space, you put something inside so that you can be able to always go back to it. But if you look at the background, it's pretty blank and not looking very pretty. So you can be able to change your background. You can be able to change the background of your PowerPoint, of your slides, by going to design. And if you look at here, you have different themes which you can select from any of them. And if this is still not enough, you can expand the various themes here, and you have more options coming up. And still, if you don't like what you have here, you can browse your theme from the internet, and you have lots and lots of themes that you can be able to choose for. You can browse maybe themes that you've downloaded already from the internet. Yes, from the internet, or simply go even directly to the internet and get your thing from it. So we are simply just going to select this, for instance. Yeah, notice when you select for one, it applies for all. Yes, it applies for all your slides. We could decide otherwise to format our own background. Yes, we could decide to design our own background and not have what the theme is proposing for us by clicking on format background. If I select format background, I can want to have a picture which I can insert or go online to upload my picture. I can go to file to bring up the picture from my computer or online. I can decide I want a pattern fill. Yes, here You can choose the color of this pattern. Maybe you want a blue pattern or any other color of your choice. You can uh, use this gradient field. We are going to be using gradient field a lot in our PowerPoint course. So this gradient field simply means uniform distribution of a particular color within your your workspace. And as two types of gradient field, we have linear, we have circular or radial, we have rectangular, and we have path. If you select radial, for instance, we have this which comes up here, and these are uh, the stops within our gradient field, which we can use to define various color. If I click on one stop, for instance, I can either remove it, yes, can either remove it or change the color of the gradient stop. And notice whenever I change the color, it affects my background. If there are just fewer stops, I can add another stop and change the color as well. Yes, and we have a lot of these crazy things we can do. You can move one stop past another and take another to different positions. I can change this radial to rectangular, for instance, and this is what we have. This is what we are going to have here. Yes, so I will just go ahead and do something uh, like this, for instance. That's so crazy. Let's go for, I'm gonna go for this. You can increase the transparency of a particular gradient spot. Yeah, if I'm reducing the transparency, it applies to just one spot. You can reduce or increase the brightness, the position. In all these we can be able to do. Crazy. So I will reset background and we are back to this, which I'm very comfortable with it. Types of insects. I change the color to black, for instance. So for our types of insects, we can either have as main types ants. We can have flies. We can have fruit flies, for instance. Fruit flies. We can have termites. Yes, let's just limit this here. Even bees, huh? Bees, beetles. So let's limit it here. These are main headings under which we can have different types, different subtypes. We can equally change the font type as well as font size, and color as well. We can change the color and so on. And somehow, let's just say this is our first slide, and there is one thing we've missed to do is putting the presentation page, the presentation slide. Here we have directly moved like in just kind of the plan of the work. So I'm going to create a first page which shows your detail, the detail of the program, by duplicating this slide, and then I can move to the first slide and start working from there. And then I can delete this. This is type of slide. You may want to, in this first slide, you have the title of your work, you have your name, you have your institution, and all the details that you in all the details that you want people, you may want the people to have of you: the name of your institution, your title, the program, even the program itself, the date. Those are the few informations that you can include within your first page. You can have your name as M John, for instance, or M Nazy Innovations. That's your name, so it doesn't have to be this large, preferably a different font type. You have your name here, for instance, Professor Engineer Nazy Innovation. Good. You may equally want to indicate the date of your presentation, 2022 October. October 2022. You can equally bring a logo. Good. You can bring your logo here. For instance, let's just go to let's go to Nazy. All right. So we can simply maybe want to insert a logo. Go to your file and look for whatever logo you want to. Right. This is not good. You're wasting time. Great. This is the Nazy logo here, for instance. I open the Nazy logo. I open the Nazy logo. I can right click and then copy and go to my PowerPoint, paste. Great, it covers almost everything, but you reduce while holding on to the shift key so that you maintain the size. I can want to make another copy of this. To make another copy of this image, you either do the usual copy and paste, or you click on it, hold down your control and shift key, and it duplicates, and you're able now to drag and place it anywhere within your screen when your hand is still on the control and shift key. Good. Teen school. So this is the most basic front page that you may want to have. What else can we put here? I think it's okay, very okay. Then this is our next slide. Here we can generally just have our plan of work. This is the plan. Cool. And in our next slide we start with the very first group, which we set ants. Copy. And here we can insert the image. We can insert the image of the ants. We can insert text on ants. We have here our text zone on ants. We can insert image, or we can simply go to the internet. Here I visited the home page, www.homestratosphere.com, where I saw images on ants. Yes, if I can either download this image from here, and if I'm not given the download option, as is the case, I will just show you one tool that I use very much in my PC, which is the snip tool. Almost all the snip tool permits me to cut or snip almost all images. Some images cannot be downloaded, so I use this tool to get whatever image you want to. There's the image of an ant, which you can place here. Yes, and you do a lot of formatting with this image, like the crop option, which will permit me to remove that upper arrow here. Yes, to crop it out, and more of this formatting that we have seen in our previous lesson in words. Changing of border, change orientation, but this is not the aim of this lesson. Next, we can just simply duplicate this slide, and we had ants. The next will be flies. We have our flies here, and still we change the picture. We have mosquito as well as one of the insects. And mosquitoes. We have flies. Yes, this is where we get flies. And still with this cutting tool, we get the image of our fly into our PowerPoint, for instance. Yes, to our PowerPoint, and we can be able to do whatever editing we want to do with our image. Almost anything, and I mean anything. All these nice things you can do with your of course, your slides, your presentation. Yeah, and notice I'm deleting single slides. You can delete multiple slides as well. by doing multiple selection. I click, and with the control button pressed, I click on the second slide and I take delete, and those two I'm able, it looks like I deleted 3, so I can go back and deselect the fourth slide. Now when I delete, it's just going to delete the last 2 slides. And you can keep on duplicating to have the next group, which is fruit flies, while adding your text, of course, um, to each slide. You may equally want to add a title to your image, so just like we did for the image, by clicking on it, click, hold, and then press the shift and control key to be able to duplicate the image. We can do same for the text by clicking on this border line. Notice the arrow is not the same when I am on the border. Yes, when you click and hold control and shift key, I can be able to duplicate a text space. To do any duplication, be it in Excel, be it in Word or PowerPoint, that function is pretty much effective. So I can have a figure and I give the title flies, maybe particular type uh, of a fly whose name you know very much. You give the title of your figure with the text just beside it, and a lot of other exciting things like animation, but that's not the focus uh, of this lesson. We'll see animation later. So basically, that's how you can create a very simple PowerPoint presentation. Very simple. Another thing that we've not looked at is the comment section. Good. Is the comment section. Right below here you have notes, and then you have comments. In this comment, you can create and attach comments to a particular slide. Maybe a comment for maybe a friend asks you to go through his or her PowerPoint and add comments to it for modification and so on. You can attach your comments. At the end of it, when you send to your friend, the comment appears here, and he or she can be able to go through, see your comments, and make adjustment. For notes, usually there can be lots and lot of things that you will want to say during your presentation about this fly, and it's advisable you don't fill your PowerPoint with a lot of text, so you put a few text here with many keywords that will be able to remind you of the explanation you want to give about this fly. You can also be able to put key sentences on the notes. Yes, on your notes here for a particular slide, and these sentences will only be seen by you during presentation, and they will enable you to not to keep you on track, so that you don't go off track following the pressure. If I go to slide show or the presentation mode, for instance, I have flies here. So if I was connected to a projector, and yes, if I were who's connected to a projector, and I go to this presentation mode, I am going to see this page, which the audience will see as well. And in addition to it, you have your note in front of you that will only be seen by you, and they will guide you actually to go through your PowerPoint. Yes, there are also some options provided here. You can be able to create a laser pointer. You have a laser pointer so that you can direct people through your PowerPoint as you go ahead. You see the laser pointer, notice the color can be changed as well. The color of your laser pointer can be changed. If you don't like the red, for instance, you can change to, you can equally highlight during your presentation. If you want to highlight a particular text, you take this option and highlight. So there are actually many exciting things that you can do during your presentation. A lot. Yes, this highlight is usually used during lectures. Highlight is used during lectures and very effective, especially when you are using tablets. Good. And if you want to move out of the presentation view, you simply place your escape key, and there is some, I want to keep your ink annotation. Ink annotation are simply these highlights we've done, and I will say discard because they are not important for now. Cool. So more or less those are what other function? Cool. Yes, and you can equally, let's say you create your slides, and during the very last minute of it, you have an urgency that doesn't permit you to attend this event and do the presentation. You can either do a voice recording. Yes, you can do a voice recording by going to audio, record audio. You do your voice recording and send it together with your PowerPoint. You can do a video. You can add a video to your PowerPoint. Yeah, it is also very important to watch out. Most options or some options in PowerPoint have two parts. The upper part, for instance, this one, simply when I move to the upper part, it says new photo album, and the lower part with the downward arrow, if I click on it, it actually gives more options. And generally the second option is always very exciting. Like here, for instance, in new slides, we have the upper part which says new slides, or you click Control M, and below, if I click on below, I get a lot of other options. Yes, other exciting options that you can choose from. Good. See what we have as new. It moves kind of away from this traditional brown line below to a thick brown section to the left and a white section to the right. Good. So you can equally want to select maybe something like this. This is another type where you can put your image, titles, subtitles, and so on and so forth. You might also want to add an image to your first slide. It's always very beautiful if you can add an image to, of course, most often an image. There is always an image on the first slide. to captivate your people, to make them interested in your work. Let's just go ahead and have this image, for instance, off to our first slide, our presentation slide, and add it there. Notice this picture has actually let's crop. This image has covered our title behind. So I want this image to move back. How can I do that? By right clicking on the image, and right here you have send to back, which if I click, it moves behind, it moves to back. Great. I can enlarge it, and now our titles are no longer visible. So we have to either change the color. Yes, we can either change the color to make it visible, or there is this option where we can change we can format the surrounding, like filling our shape. Yes, filling our shape so that it becomes, now we have a white background which our title can appear. But generally I always love my image to be very much, sorry for this, I'm going to restore, and then I do a shift reduction. Yes, now I can be able to carry my title right up here. Do same for the subtitle. Yes, I carry the subtitle here, and because I changed the color of our subtitle to white, you couldn't see. Yeah, I equally change this to the initial black color as well. Now I can centralize this, and at least we have something that is looking not so professional, but it's looking nice. It's looking nice. So for each time you want to add a new tab, you can look here. We have titles and comments, section, header, to content, comparison, depending on what you want to do in a particular slide. You can choose any of these, or do your own specific creation by creating the picture zone, the text zone, and yeah, and they are equally shapes. If at any point you want to add a shape in your PowerPoint, like arrows, usually arrows are very much used in our PowerPoint. Arrows are very much used in our PowerPoint. So you can maybe you want to add an arrow to indicate flow or something in your PowerPoint. You can add and format and edit all these arrows. So that was it with the very basics. This is the first lesson. In the next one, we will see how to use to do more formatting, to do animation and 3D animation in our PowerPoint. Yes, with this I think you're good to go to start practicing the very basic, in a very basic way, adding images, formatting text. Yes, and I earlier said this font type, yeah, there's thousand of font type. I came across one COVID font type. We are going to equally see how you can download and add a font type to your Microsoft Office, be it Word, Excel, or PowerPoint. We'll see that subsequently. So watch out for the next lesson. Thank you.